should be played at high volume. This should be played at high volume. This should be played at high volume. Preferably in a residential area.
The following thoughts on Hoppe Hour do not represent Cox Media Group or its sponsoring. Anything you hear may and will be used against you. Thank you. Voted as best local podcast in Tampa Bay by the Creative Loafing. You're listening to Hoppe Hour.
What up? What's happening? This is Hoppe Hour. I am your host, Ryan Hoppe, and on the phone line from the nationally syndicated Billy Madison Show out of San Antonio, Texas, on 99.5 Kiss Rocks and 102.5 The Bone in Tampa Bay, Derek Allgood is on Hoppe Hour. What's up, man?
Hey, Hoppe. How you doing, buddy? I appreciate you having me on. First off, I want to apologize because if you know me at all, you know I smoke a lot, and I was looking through my messages, and I realized that you messaged me a while back, and I just never got back to you. And I was always wondering why Hoppe never asked me to be on, because you've had on like everybody, and I was like, oh my God, this dude asked me like forever ago. So first off, I apologize. Second, thank you for having me on, man. I appreciate it.
Of course, dude, because I'll send text to dumbass Daniel every once in a while, and I would say to him, does Derek want to come on? And he's like, yeah, I'll work on it. So I'm glad to have you on, man.
I'll work on it. He never said one thing to me ever. Not one time. I swear to God, he's never said anything to me. God, what a dick that guy is.
So what is the show like? Do you guys love each other? Because you guys do a lot of ball busts. So is it true love off air, or do you guys actually have that animosity?
No, you have to like each other to be able to go at each other the way that we do, because, you know, just as a man, I wouldn't be, okay with somebody coming at me with some of the stuff that, we say to each other. But I think that we've built that. I mean, me, myself, Billy, and Nard have been together, not as a, sexual thing, but, as a radio show for 10 years now, I say. Yeah, about 11 years now, actually. So we've been together for a while, and I think that you have to – it's a must to have that chemistry, because, I mean, who the hell is going to want to work in that kind of environment where you're just getting picked on all the time? And that's what people think it's genuine, and it's genuine ball busting, but I think there's a lot of, personal trust there between us, like off the air, because, we've done just over the years, we've been there for each other and our families, and, with situations that come about in life. And, you just develop this bond that I think the three of us have. And that's why the three of us are able to say sometimes, I think about it, sometimes we get incredibly brutal with each other. I mean, we say some pretty rude stuff. So, yeah, are we the closest? I mean, no, probably not off the air, just because, we have families, and, we all live busy schedules, especially with our kids, but we still talk regularly. It's not we turn the mics off and nobody, we don't talk again until the next show. No, not at all. We're constantly group messaging and talking throughout the day. So, yeah, I mean, there's a lot of, off the air, respect and love. And it's like, it's cliche and it's stupid to say, but it really is like a family. Just a family you don't hang out with. But who the hell hangs out with their family? Nobody.
Exactly, dude. And what I love about your fan base is they get so intense and so into it, man. That has to be flattering that every morning that your fans and your listeners are that gravitated by it.
Absolutely. I mean, you go on social media. That's what you want to see. You don't want to do a show and not get any feedback. And, we've learned that over the years. I mean, from when we started on, how long ago was MySpace? I mean, oh my God, that was our first avenue, but we hit it, and we hit it hard. I remember we used to put our parodies up on MySpace, so we've, developed, and obviously, our favorite is Twitter, I think, because Twitter to me is the easiest, and it's the most personal because, you can really communicate. I'm trying to do the Snapchat. I don't like selfies, and nobody on the show really does. Even Billy. I mean, if I was Billy, I'd be taking selfies. Literally, that's all I would do all day. I would just take some of my, some with clothes, some without. But, me personally, me being Derek, I don't like to take selfies. So Snapchat is kind of more difficult to me. So, yes, Twitter, it's nice to have, the feedback out there. And I hate calling them fans because we do radio. So, they're just people that I guess consume our show on a daily basis, and I appreciate them. I mean, good or bad feedback. I mean, it's great to see, though. It really is. And, the Bone, I mean, Tampa, like that's a radio market, like the shows that have come through there. So that audience, they're just a different breed. So usually they're the most brutal on Twitter, if you will, as far as, I'm sure you've gotten a share. Oh, yeah. I can only imagine. Can I tell you, Hoppy, I remember you from when we all worked in Dallas, and I think you were still in school at the time.
Yeah.
And, you had just, I had listened to some of your stuff, and can I just tell you how weird it is to see, because I knew, I don't know him, but like I knew the show, the Rovers, Morning Glory.
Yeah.
And so then when you got on that show, and then now for you to be, on the Bone, it's just a small world. It's crazy to see, but I couldn't be happier for you. I'm glad that they're tapping into your personality, and it sounds like you're tapping into your own personality.
Yeah, I have come into my own, man. What I loved was when you guys gave me that shout out after I got fired from Rovers Morning Glory. Because, dude, that was a downtime, man. I didn't think I would ever work in radio again. And then when I get the text from Nard saying we gave you a shout out this morning, dude, that meant a lot, man. Because that was a dark day for me, the day after I got let go.
We've all been there. I mean, when I first started in radio, I had been working maybe a year or two, and me and Billy ended up getting into a real bad one day on the air, and I ended up getting fired. And that was a bad time. I was off the show for about 6 months. And then, eventually they asked me to come back. I had to come back. I had to fight Nard. We had a big fight, it's way back in the day, but I've been there, man. I've been there, I've been on the good end of a firing. I've been on the bad end. That was a bad end because, I was out of radio, and that sucked. I've also had a good firing where, they had to pay me a ton of money to do nothing, so that was kind of nice. And then I already had another job lined up, so there's good and bad to it, but we all go through it. That was a bad day for you, but you've come out better on the other side of it.
Now, I want to ask you this. You guys are a very successful morning show, and you guys come off pretty humble with the fans. How do you have confidence without coming off too cocky? Because I feel like recently I've been really cocky and I've been really self-centered when it comes to my show. So how do you come into your own with not making it about Derek? You know what I mean? How do you come off confident without being a douche?
That's just our personality. Like, your personality is you're a douche. You're cocky. That's just you. You got to be yourself. I think we're just, and I don't mean that disrespectfully. By the way,
I know, it's all good, bro.
You're all quiet, and I'm like, oh, man, he's all taking me serious. Anyways, but it's just, that's our personality. It's, I think we're very humble by it because, man, you never know. Like, you never know when your ratings could go away and you could, not be in radio anymore. And we're very fortunate to do what we do because, obviously, like, it's not a real job. I mean, we do, it can be very stressful, but a lot of it is self-stress. But it can be taken away from you at any moment. And so we always try just not to seem above anybody. We want to be, just everybody else and looked at. I don't want to be looked at a higher standard because I don't want to be held to that higher standard because I don't live at a higher standard. I'm not smarter than anybody. I don't know more than anybody else. I just try to have a humorous outlook on things and, just try to make people laugh. That's the whole point of our show every day. We never want to offend anybody or anything like that. We're just trying to make people laugh. And so, I mean, I just think we have humble personalities.
Yeah, man. I can't figure out you guys at all. What are Bill and Nard like off the air? Because they play such crazy characters on air, and I've had Bill on the show, especially Bill. I can't figure the guy out at all. Dude. What's he like, man?
He is, he's just a workout machine, and he truly he spends so much time. He's such a great dad. It's, it's not just on the air and he's trying to, come off as a certain way to anybody. It's 100% genuine. He really is. I mean, the dude is such a good dad that, like, he literally inspires me to be a better dad. So that's just 100% genuine. All of his focus, if it's not, if it's not on the radio, or he works out quite a bit. Obviously, he's a good-looking dude. You know what I mean? 40 years old and buffed. I mean, he's best-looking guy on the show by far. even though Nard's catching up to him, but Nard he has nowhere near the muscle mass, and he never will. So he's a boring guy. He likes movies. He's real into dork stuff, like, I say dork stuff like Batman and Superman. He's kind of a kid at heart. He's just a good dude, man. He really is. But he spends all of his time with his family. Like, he doesn't have a vice. Like, like I smoke, and I think Nard does crank, and Daniel gets catfished by
and eats a lot.
Yes, yeah. Although he is working out, but still eats a lot. And we all have our vices, except for Bill. I honestly could not tell you. I mean, he really is like that. He's boring, is what he is, to be honest with you. But that's him. He's just what's the word I'm looking for? He's not a social guy. He's introverted. That's what. But he's a good dude. Nard's crazy, man. I tell you, like, Nard is he's pedal to the metal at all times. He's always doing something. He's always trying to book an interview. He's always thinking somebody's scamming him, or he's always working on some kind of get-rich-quick scheme. Nard's tried to get me involved in about 7 Ponzi schemes. I'm not even kidding. Like, he comes to me with some weird investment, and I'm like, Nard, like, I'm not taking investment from a dude that is, no offense, but, it's 50 special. Like, I would feel like the biggest idiot of all time. So he's always got some kind of scheme going on, and, that's who they are. But, yeah, they're not. I mean, if they come off as crazy, they're definitely not, except for Nard. Nard's a psycho.
Now we have Derek on the phone line, and what I want to ask you, man, is what is the craziest thing that Nard has ever done in your 10 years of knowing him? If it's the Ponzi schemes or getting tased on air, what is the craziest thing that comes to your mind when you think about Nathan Norris?
Nathan Norris, a.k.a. the Nard. There's a few things. I can't decide if it's, getting put through the table by the wrestler. I got to say it's probably the time that he almost got his ass beat by Charles Barkley, just because it was so big and it was so funny and it was so hostile for no reason. And Nard was just like, anybody else would have been scared of Charles Barkley, but Nard is so stupid that he doesn't even realize that Charles Barkley's about to beat his ass. And that was probably the craziest thing. And I guess because it got us the most press. So I say that to me, when he almost got beat up by Charles Barkley in a bar, or him actually going to a wrestling match and, for him to get power bombed out of the ring and through a table, that was I couldn't, dude. I was so impressed. I was like, how does this guy do that? But he's like, I don't know. He's like a stunt man or something like that. Like, that's what he's just crazy. That's why he's, the Nard. He's a legend. He's, I don't know if he has the most I think Billy has more followers than him now, but for a while there, he did have the most followers, like, on the show, which pisses me off. But that's a whole nother story.
Does it ever get to Nard's head that he's quite possibly the most known person on the show? Does he get cocky off of it? Oh, my God, yeah. He'll tell you he doesn't, but he definitely, on the cool, he definitely does to his wife and everybody. He's a big shot. But you got to think, I mean, this is Nard. This is a guy who, I don't know, before he got in radio, he worked at on an assembly line or something. Like, he was a nobody. He struggled to get laid, and then he gets on the radio and he starts getting girls throwing it at him, and he becomes like this big deal because everybody tells him, and he's too stupid to realize that people are just telling him that for the moment of the radio show. He's like, oh man, people really think I'm great, and so he's built up a big head and the 50 gold medals that he has. I mean, he really thinks that he's an athlete. I'm not even kidding. Is that actually true that he was in the Special Olympics? He was in the Special Olympics. He robbed all those children, Ryan Hoppe. He robbed those children. And this guy, like, you know what Nard is? Nard's just stupid. That's all it is. I'm just a little bit more intelligent than Nard. Not even much. Nard, the most embarrassing thing is I constantly get stumped by Nard on the air. Like, Nard puts me in my place. Like, Nard will say something, and I'll be like, Nard, you're a moron. And then somebody, sure enough, it never fails. Man, hey, Derek, you're gay, dumbass. This Nard's right. And I'm like, son of a bitch. And I end up looking it up, and he is right. So the only thing about Nard is he can't read or write. That's it. I mean, if he could read or write, he would just be a dummy like anybody else, and he would have been in regular sports. But because he couldn't read or write, his parents cheated the system and made him go through, like, some mental retardation thing, and now look at him. I mean, he's 50 gold medals. He won't shut up about it. Did you know he still competes? Are you serious? Where at? He's still
locally, he still is on a basketball team. He said he's averaging like 38 points a game or something like that. He's just balling, dude. He's balling. And he's like, apparently somebody called in and said he was like smacking some kid on the court or something like that. Like, this is all true stories though. Like, this is true. Like, I wish I was making it up to be funny, but I'm not. Like, and you know what the best part is he's so serious about it because he doesn't even tell us. Like, he's not like, hey, I got a game tonight, or we don't talk about it on the air. This is just something he does in his private life. He still goes and he competes locally, and I think he's trying to get sponsors so he can go nationally, but he still competes in the Special Olympics, and I want to get him arrested for it.
Yeah, man, that is very weird. So is he a guy that brags a lot? Like, even though he keeps it private, will he ever come into work and try and say that he scored, like, let's say, a lot of points in the game, or is he humble about it?
He's humble to us, but not anybody else. Like, he's humble to me and Billy because we'll check his ass.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So he doesn't say anything to us. He's cocky to other people, to his family, to his friends, to the people that are at the car wash that he works at, things like that. Like, that's who he brags to. He never ever brags to us because we'll bust his, we'll obviously be like, Nard, you're a nobody. But so he doesn't ever bring that to us. No, Nard he's like the worst radio personality of all time because like when things happen in your life, Poppy, and you're like, man, I want to work this into my show. Or,
yeah.
This is content or this and that. Dude, Nard lives the craziest goddamn life, like the craziest. Like, this dude's had threesomes. Like, this dude's been almost murdered. And he doesn't tell anybody about these stories. Like, these stories end up coming out, like, years later through a third party, and then we have to grill him about it. Like, he's the worst radio personality ever. Like, he doesn't come forward with any info or any, what I'm saying? Like, he doesn't. He'll just be quiet about it because, his personal life is, I don't know, I guess he's a celebrity or something. When he had his son, he thought he was such a big deal. When he had his son, at the hospital, he didn't want anybody sneaking up to the room and stealing his son. So you couldn't find out Nard's hospital room unless you knew the password to his room. Oh, my
God.
Which was Britney Spears. Again, true story. Again, that's a fact. Like, that's not even it's not a joke. That'd be a terrible joke if it was one. Like, that's just a true story about the Nard.
What do you think Tracy saw in him when they began going out and then got married and then had a kid?
I think Tracy had just got out of some abusive relationships, in my opinion. I don't know this to be fact because Nard shelters us from his wife and stuff like that. So I haven't, they've been together like 7 years now, and I've talked to her like 5 times. But I think that she was, just coming out of bad relationships, and she just wanted to get with a guy she could control. She was, I don't know, I think she had dated some alpha males who may have dominated her, and she wanted to dominate a guy. And, Nard's the easiest person in the world to dominate. So I think that's truly what it is. And then she, Nard's not a bad-looking guy. That's the thing. Like, Nard's a good-looking, he's a handsome dude. He's 100 times better looking than myself. I'll be the first one to admit that. So, he's not a bad looker, but he has a small penis, and, he's got, I don't know, the ceiling that he has, I feel like, is limited, but maybe it's not. So I'm really not sure what she saw in him. I think she made a mistake, and I still think she did. I mean, who the hell wants to be married to that guy? That's stupid.
Now, what I want to ask you, man, is how do you keep your kid safe from the show? Because you guys can be edgy at times. Does she know that her dad can be edgy at times, or do you kind of hide it from her?
Yeah, definitely hide it. I mean, my kid lives, as far as radio goes, she lives in a bubble. She knows what I do, but she's 8, so I mean, she's not that young, but she's still not that old yet to where she really understands like what I'm saying or what I'm doing. Like, she's not allowed to listen, so she just knows that I'm on the radio. But yeah, we keep all of our kids completely sheltered from really, truly, what we do, even though we don't think it's like, that crazy of a show. It's just, I don't know. That's just a perception sometimes because we do some crazy stuff. But yeah, I think we shelter our kids by they don't really know what goes on, and that's how it should be. They're young children, so we do a good job of that. Though that's never really been an issue. People ask me that all the time, but that's not hard to do.
Dude, how was the weed up in Portland? I saw you were up there.
It was sick. sick, man. It made me not want to smoke illegal weed ever again. Like, it was the THC, like, I'm not even kidding. Like, it was the best. It was the best. It was the first legal weed that I'd ever smoked. And, you know, Portland was cool. It was just really homeless, but it was. Have you ever been to Portland?
I have never been to Portland or anywhere in that area.
I loved it, man. It's a beautiful area. Like, it is one of the prettiest areas I've ever seen. But I felt like you were either, you know, it was either gay or homeless. Like, you were one of the two. You fell in one of the two buckets. Homeless were living it up there, though, man. They got like giant communities they live in. But that's besides the point. Yeah, no, the weed was. It was, man, it was way better than this illegal stuff I got to get. That's for sure. But, I mean, that's to be expected, you know, when you can grow it just down the road and, you know, you can have it in a warehouse with, you know, not be afraid of anything. You're going to make some pretty damn good weed.
How do you smoke weed while having a job? Do your bosses care that you're sort of public about it, or do they know that's what comes with being Derek?
I think it's just kind of one of those things that they've just, you know, I don't want to say, I guess maybe just turn a blind eye to. They just don't really, I think so many people in radio smoke, so it's like, what are they really going to do? I mean, I don't know. I feel like if they were to come clean house on anybody that smoked, they'd have to get rid of, you know, tons and tons and tons of air talent. Now, don't get me wrong. I mean, you know, some of the great ones out there don't smoke weed at all, but there's just, you got to admit, I mean, there's so many radio personalities that do, but it's, you know, work is cool about it. It doesn't affect my work, you know. I mean, I come in, you know, high out of my mind, but, you know, that's kind of, it's a good thing, I think, you know. I should be on the air high. Like, I'm better high. I'm funnier high. My outlook on things is better high, you know. It's just, I don't know. It calms me down. It lets me go with the flow. I gotta have it. I'm an addict, though. I also take Adderall, and Ambien.
Wow, how many drugs are you on, dude? I take Klonopin for my ADHD, and that calms me down, bro. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, I take Adderall for my, you know, quote-unquote ADHD. All prescribed, though, but that's it. I just take Adderall in the morning, Ambien at night, smoke weed throughout the day. It's, you know, it's a good thing I got going.
Would you say weed has made you a better parent?
You know, it's a possibility. I mean, I don't know. I have a big fear. Like, that's my biggest fear, is being a parent and messing things up. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's a big, huge responsibility. Obviously, you're in charge of another life. So I don't know if I would say weed's maybe a better parent, but it definitely hasn't affected my ability to parent. I will say that.
What type of parent are you? You seem like one that keeps your kid guided and you never take your eye off of her. I see you as a very good dad.
Helicopter parent. Yeah. Well, I appreciate it, man. I'm not as good as Billy, but I don't know. I don't want to pat myself on the back because I hate parents that do that. You know what I'm saying? Where they're like, oh man, I'm such a good this and that. But I don't know. I try my best. I mean, I make mistakes. I need to watch my language. You know, sometimes, I don't know. Sometimes I'm watching YouTube and stuff like that. I don't have the most appropriate things on, and I really need to watch that, especially as she gets older. But I'm really attentive. I spoil her. I play with her. I interact with her. So I don't know. I mean, I'm definitely not the worst. I'm better than Nard, that's for sure, but I'm not as good as Billy. So that's where I'd put myself. I'd put myself, just like in the show, you know, in the middle right there.
So now what I want to ask you is, where do you want to see the show in 5 years? You guys have grown so much since going into town. You guys are in different markets now. Would you want to be in a bigger market? Would you guys want to be in more markets? Have you guys even talked about this?
I mean, more markets is obviously the goal. I prefer not to move. I mean, I love San Antonio. I've loved everywhere I've lived. I love coming down to Tampa and stuff like that. But I love, like, San Antonio to me is home. The people here, I think I have a sense of loyalty to them just because of the fact when we came in, they were so, I don't want to say welcoming at first because we replaced a heritage show when we got here, but it didn't take long for us to really, you know, get going here. And it's just to me, it's been a great place to live. I love obviously the food, the scenery, because I'm into Mexican women, and you know, it's just it's a chill place. People are really cool here, but I would love to see the show in more markets. Obviously, I mean that's obviously the end goal. But you know what? If we're in the same amount of markets that we are now, and we were just being successful, I don't want to sound like I'm being complacent. I'm just more grateful. You know how hard it is to be successful on the radio. I mean, it's hard. It's hard to come in and have a show that takes over. It's hard to have a show that garners success and stays with it, especially a syndicated show. You got a lot of things going against you, and it's all about, so I'm thankful for the success that we've had, honestly. I mean, I never knew where this radio thing was going to take me and how far it was going to go. I thought, we would be successful. I thought we'd do well, but I'm so grateful for the success we've had. But yeah, I mean, in 5 years, obviously, I would love to see the show on in more markets, bigger, smaller. I just want to be everywhere where we can win. We're not going to win everywhere. There's going to be, I think, markets that we gain. There's going to be markets that we lose, just because that's how syndicated radio works. And but yeah, I would love to see the show at least maintaining and obviously adding some more markets. That'd be fantastic, Hoppy. That would be a dream come true.
Dude, how sad were you when Tim Duncan finally retired?
I mean, it was very sad for the city. I'm not from San Antonio. I've been here for 5 years. You can't help but love the Spurs, especially when you live down here. You see how they are. You see how they operate. My first NBA game I ever went to was when I moved down to San Antonio, went to the Spurs games. And, for the last 5 years, I've been to, a bunch of games each year. So I have definitely become a Spurs fan, but I'm not going to, hop on the bandwagon and act like I've been, I grew up with Tim Duncan or watched him for night, but the guy's just a humble dude, man. And he's just the way this community sees him, and as they should, because, he brought 5 NBA titles here, and he's always been a good stand-up guy. He's always been a good stand-up guy in the community. I was sad for the people here because it really hit them. Like, it's weird how sports like that works, right?
Yeah.
Like how these people become icons, and they just become something so much more than a sports guy. A guy that plays basketball, they become a symbol, they become all these, but that's what I love about sports. So it was neat seeing, man. I'm thankful for a couple of years ago when I got to go downtown and be in my first city where they won a major championship, and got to hang out downtown and enjoy that, and then go to the parade. Like those are things you want to experience, Obviously, being from Chicago, you haven't seen that in years and years and years and years and years and years and years. But you know what I'm saying? Like it's an amazing experience to go through, and I'm thankful for getting to go through that. But yeah, it really hit the city hard, but I think that they were ready for it. I mean, the guy, he had a good year, but his time was, he's getting older. But yeah, it hit the city hard. It still has. I think it'll really set in when the season starts.
Dude, how great was that thing I sent you where he's at Old Navy in line
Bad.
On what possibly was a flip phone, just chilling? It was amazing.
Yeah, that's him, though, dude. That's him. Like, I heard the dude plays, like, Warcraft and stuff like that. Like, I joked that he retired because he wanted to play Pokemon Go. Like, he's like, screw going back, you know what I'm saying? Like, I just want – like, he's a known – like, he's kind of a known dork, probably a self-proclaimed dork. And Old Navy, I mean, that was Tim Duncan's style. I don't know if you've seen the things on Twitter and Bleacher Report about, the years of Tim Duncan's style, but the dude, I mean, he dresses like a goober. But that's him, dude. He doesn't care, and that's what makes Tim Duncan. He does not give an S. He just doesn't. That's just him. But it wasn't a shock to see him at Old Navy. I mean, it kind of was, actually, I guess, just because of him out in public like that.
Yeah, that's what was weird.
Yeah, but that was cool, though. Like, that was – I mean, how awesome would that be to see Tim? I mean, that would be cool, but that was funny. And the funny part is I didn't even see that until you sent it to me, so I appreciate that.
And what's weird, too, is he didn't even play basketball until he was, like, let's say 14. He began by being a swimmer. Like, he's the most fascinating dude ever.
He really is, man. He's such a talent, too. And, I mean, he was – and people forget, like, I got to – see everything about Tim Duncan, but like in the early 2000s, the guy was unguardable. Like, people forget about that. I mean, because it seems like so long ago, but like that run that they had, which was, over a long span with 5 championships. I mean, he just, won the last one a couple of years ago, but early 2000s, that guy was, unstoppable. And it is amazing that he didn't start till he was 14. And it's amazing all the knowledge you have. I mean, that's just, you got Asperger's or something, Hoppy? Like,
me? I do not. Come on. Don't say that. I've been exploited.
I didn't say it like a bad thing. You have a lot of knowledge. You know what I'm saying? Like, you are always, when I hear you on air, when I've heard the, the podcast and stuff like that, like, you always got just all kinds of random knowledge that I never knew.
Dude, I didn't have any siblings growing up, so I was a kid by myself, so I had a lot of time to Google things. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I hear you. Yeah, and you had a bunch of cats, didn't you?
How did you know that, man? You do know a lot about me, Derek.
Dude, I'm telling you that since, I mean, I've known you, well, I haven't, we've actually never even met, but I've known you for like, God, it seems like 7-8 years now.
I think it's like 4 or 5. I think I was.
No. Because I remember when we were back, like when we were like in Dallas.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
A long time ago, because it was before you even really had got. I mean, I think you were doing something on the weekends at some station, but like you were still in school. Like you were just a radio dork. You followed all kinds of shows all across the country, and I remember you there. When I heard you on the air on Rover's Morning Glory, well, I was like, man, that Rover's a genius for picking him up. That dude is hilarious. And you've been killing it ever since. Whatever happened up there? Like, why did you get fired? Are you allowed to talk about it?
It's one of those things where I was 21 years old. I was new to drinking. The show wanted to get rid of me, but basically I drank way too much on St. Patrick's Day when they did a bar crawl, and then I got canned the next day via a phone call.
Why did they want to get rid of you?
I was really naive, and I wasn't really taking in that it's the biggest show in Cleveland in a few different markets. So what happened was, it's hard to describe looking back on it. They were a bit mean to me. They were sort of making fun of the meds I take, but at the same time, I just wasn't really appreciating the moment there, but it wasn't meant to be because they told me, and I signed this sheet where I wasn't allowed to do anything on the side, so I was just his phone screening bitch. I wasn't allowed to do a podcast on the side. So it wasn't meant to be, but looking back, I could have been a bit more humble because that town is so small when it comes to radio. There's not many shows that you're immediately recognized, and I'm awkward and goofy, so you're going to see me at the bar. So the whole getting recognized the first weekend got to my head. It wasn't meant to be, but...
That was a big show to first start out on, too,
Yeah, I mean... It was just so weird getting recognized at Aldi's, getting recognized at Target. It's sort of
cool, though, man. Isn't that
it
cool?
Is weird.
Like
yeah.
It's to me, it's always just a great. It's just I don't know. It's like a security almost. It's like, okay, cool, we're doing something right. When somebody stops, I'm just so thankful for that. Plus, it makes you look just like you're the coolest guy there, which that can't hurt, right? Especially with you. You got a girlfriend now, or what?
I had a girlfriend for about 7 weeks, and then we kind of mutually broke up. She quit. I don't want to be...
She dumped you.
Here's what happened. She quit putting out in the way that she got mad at me. Something happened during an argument. She sort of broke up with me, but then we hooked up again, and it seemed like we were going to be back together, but then I got tired of her crap, so... We kind of mutually broke up. I didn't get dumped. She said she wanted to be friends. Then we hooked up.
You seem like a difficult person. You know what I mean? Like you don't. Do you live by yourself?
Yes, I do.
Are you good with your money?
I'm all right. I mean, it's one of those things. I don't know. I'm a weird dude, man. Like here's
You're an only child. Yeah, we're weird. I was an only child, too. We have things about us that are just different.
Dude, wasn't it sad when you didn't have any friends and you're just sitting home on the weekend?
I didn't even... Well, I had friends, so I can't relate to that. But it was weird, though, not having, like, parents because, I grew up with just my mom, and my mom was, she had her own life going on. So from the time I was about 7 or so, man, I just had me, my bike, and... Usually my mom was good about leaving me at 20 before, she would go out for the day or whatever, be gone. So I would just roll around my town on my bike and $20 in my pocket and just, kind of hang out. It was weird, though. We definitely, you grow up different when you're an only child, when you got a sibling. So, what can you do? You're weird. Like, that's all right. I think you're interesting, Hoppy.
I'm unique. There's something about me I'm trying to figure out. Like, here's how weird I am. There's the Crowded Table, the podcast with John Senning, Promo John, Dennis, Jake here.
I was hearing this earlier. You were going on a rant about it.
Yeah, dude, there's something wrong with me. I didn't want their co-host to mention that there was a podcast. Like,
yeah.
Who the hell does that? It's because I didn't have any siblings. It's because I didn't have any siblings growing up that I felt threatened.
You can't share.
Yeah.
You can't share.
Dude, I got to calm down, man. I am a weird guy with an ego that I don't want to admit, man. This was when I'm like, what am I doing?
How many good friends do you have? How many good friends do you have?
Maybe 5, 4. I have people that I hang out with, but I have like 1 or 2 that I'm tight with. You know what I mean?
Okay, like because aren't you you're from Illinois, right?
Yes.
Okay, so how many friends do you have from back there that you still talk to?
Maybe 2 people from my radio school. See, the biggest problem, and a lot of people say that when I'm on air, I make it about me and it's a pity party. But I will say
you can't help it. You're an only child.
Yeah.
You had cats.
And yes, exactly. I have a cat that's 14 years old that I've had since 2002. Damn. I'm a weird person, dude. But I will say this. Kids were incredible douchebags between 6th grade until graduation of high school.
Yeah.
So that just beat down my whole swagger and my confidence. So when I get teased lightly on air or I feel threatened, I feel like I'm back in high school. It's sort of like high school PTSD where I need to calm down, you know?
Definitely, you got, especially in radio, because people. I mean, that's what we do. You know who I think the best in the world at it is Howard Stern. I mean, obviously he's the greatest broadcaster to ever live. But like, if you listen to it, like if you go back and listen to his shows, like there's some times where that dude gets attacked like you wouldn't believe. Like he just a brutal assault. And he's always just so mellow and just so he doesn't let anybody rattle his cage. He just, he's such a chill dude. And I always wondered how he got to that point because, like I'm with you. Like, I got to sometimes check myself because I get a little upset. I think you probably fly off the handle a little more than I do. And things get under your skin a little more. But that's like you said, it goes back to when you were in high school and you got picking kids, man. We all know, like, especially starting in 6th grade, like elementary school, 1st through 5th grade, not a lot of bullies. You ain't got to deal with a lot of bullies. A little bit sometimes here and there, but those are pretty easy to stomp out, right? Most of the kids they're just kids. When you get to 6th grade, that's where it starts. When you get your own locker and all that, like it just hell begins.
7th grade is when it begins.
Yeah.
6th grade's okay.
Grade.
You're getting
You're
used to being in the hallway and kids are feeling awkward. But by 7th
grade was bad.
8th grade is the worst because you feel like you're the king of the middle school. It's the worst.
Right. 8th grade was the worst for me because I felt like all my friends were, getting mouth hugs for girls, and I was still just trying to get a girlfriend.
That is the best term you guys use. I love the term mouth hug. I use it on my podcast to keep it clean so I don't swear. I never say blowjob. I love saying mouth hug. Yeah,
no, I love it. People just say it now too instead of even off air. So it's a great term, but I'm with you, buddy, and I totally understand. But you definitely gotta let that go a little bit. I mean, if the guy's gonna come on, you shouldn't be such a dick to him. You gotta learn how to be a little bit nicer.
Yeah, man. To me, that was where I talk about people on radio that haven't treated me well, but by me doing that, I'm being that person in radio. Like, what am I doing, Derek?
Yeah. I don't. You definitely got some issues you got to work out, and I think you are. You're hypersensitive and you're hyper defensive. You think like somebody will say something to you, and you're like, oh, this person just thinks I'm an idiot, and probably just goes home and makes fun of me, and they spend their whole day, just thinking about how they can make fun of me, and it's like, you gotta let it go, especially in radio. You're gonna. I don't know. I feel like that would be so exhausting. Like, you just think, you know what I mean? Like, that you have to be exhausted all the time.
Dude, you have taken the words out of me. I know you're a guy that's not the smartest person on the radio, but you don't give yourself enough credit, man. You're really good at breaking things down.
I see people. I think I am. That's the one thing I am good at is reading people a little bit. And listen, it's easy to read you because I grew up an only child, so I know some of the syndromes and some of the things that you have, and that's why you can't share. You take everything, offensively. You take everything to heart. It's just there's a big part of us that are, as only children, we're kind of pussies when it comes to that sometimes. You just got to try and shake it off, Hoppy. Confidence, though. You got to get another girlfriend.
Yeah, dude. I don't know. I do okay with girls when it comes to the apps. Like, what happens is I'll be on, let's say, Bumble or Tinder.
Are you on Tinder?
Are you on it? Are you on Tinder?
No, I'm not.
How are you doing with the ladies?
I got divorced a few months ago, and I don't know. It is what it is. I'd rather not say.
No, I feel you, man. It's one of those things where that's what happened with my ex, was she was mad that I would talk about her on air, so that's kind of what broke it up. And the thing is, I want to find a girl that's in it for me. By no means am I a person that's known. I'm like a Z-list figure. But the girls that I've hooked up with have known who I am. So I'm trying to find one that's cool with the radio figure of Ryan Hoppe and that she'll be talked about on air but won't care. It's very complicated. Yeah. I'm a very complicated dude, man.
You don't want to be with somebody that knows who you are, but you still want her to be cool with it. Yeah, that's going to be good luck with that. Like, I don't know how you're gonna pull that one off. I really don't, because I mean, if you do though, I'd love to hear about it. I sent you my number. Please text me and let me know when you do find that. But I don't think it's gonna happen.
Dude, it's weird, man. Here's what happens too. I'm at work so much, either running the board, doing the show on the side for freelancing, doing promotion events. You see it on Twitter. The problem is I do so much in radio that it's kind of become me. That even my boss at the team meeting last night, Mike was like, Hoppe's whole life is this job. So when the girls ask me, what are you doing right now? I'll be like, oh, I'm at work right now. And then they're like, where do you work? And that's how it begins.
You just got to embrace it. Well, that's the great thing. When I used to board up at a station, especially like overnights and stuff, I used to board up like boring ass baseball games and stuff. I would always invite girls up like to the studio. And if they were real gross, because sometimes that happens, I would tell them that the boss just showed up and I'm not allowed to have anybody in the studio, and you know what I mean, you usher them out. But yeah, I was always cool with the radio. I don't even like to call them groupies, because I mean, I don't think we're cool enough to have groupies. But you know, just the girls you meet through the radio, like those are. I don't know. Those were always fun times to me. I don't think you should, brag about it, use it to your advantage, but. You'll find a good girl in the mix of all that if you're doing it right. I just don't know. I'd have to see your game. I bet it's interesting.
My game is weird. Dude, you know what's weird? Is that I have game with older women. I lost my V card to a Rover fan that's 49. I lost my V card to a MILF that's 49. I recently banged a 40-year-old. I have hooked up with an average age of, I would say, 37, dude. But girls my age want nothing to do with me. Even my girlfriend was like 2 years older than me. I don't know what it is, but me and older women, we're okay. You know, it's weird, Derek.
Yep. No, I hear you. I'm not into older women myself, but I do watch mature porn every once in a while. And that's the honest God truth. I just watched one earlier. But, I'm impressed by that, dude. I really am. Being able to pull an older lady, like, but that's where your intelligence comes in. You know what I'm saying? Like, older ladies, they're attracted to this weird, quirky. Yeah, but I mean, you're also, I think that's how you come off. You come off as mature and well-informed and stuff like that. I mean, like, I hear you. Like, nothing really gets past you. You have an opinion on politics, on sports, on, social issues. You're pretty in tune with everything. So I can see why an older woman, whose kids are maybe just moved out of the house would be into you.
And they think I play sports, but then when they meet me, they see my uncoordinatedness, so then they go, okay, he doesn't play sports.
You never played anything? I feel like you play, like, disc golf.
No, dude, I never played any sports, man.
No, you don't golf? You don't do nothing?
I actually might be partaking in the Mike Kelt the Punch-Out if it does happen. So what's going to happen is I will probably be getting a trainer. I'm not going to talk about it. I'm not going to post any selfies online. But I do see this as a chance to get into shape anyway, because I'm in decent shape. I used to be like 295. I used to be a fat slob.
Damn. You used to be almost 300 pounds?
I know.
You're super skinny. Like, I never knew that you were fat.
Well, it's weird. I'm like 255, so I'm not that skinny. Like, I was down to 220 like 3 years ago. 6'9".
Oh my God, you're a freaking giant, dude. 255 at 6'9". Yeah, dude, no wonder the older girls like you. I didn't realize you were that tall. That's crazy. And you didn't play sports. That's crazy.
Dude, when are you going to come down to Tampa, man? I feel like we know each other pretty well, but we've never met.
Yeah, for sure. I don't know. I don't know if anything's on the books or not. I know we're well overdue. That's for damn sure. But I don't know. I'll have to bring that up to Billy and see if he's heard anything. Talk to Brennan or anything like that. I need to come down there. I need to come see Garabo and Seth, and of course, the man, the legend, Mr. Calta. That guy, I love that guy. But yeah, no, I'll come down there and see everybody. I don't think I've met Kevin yet.
Soul Brother Kevin?
Those people, I haven't met him. Who's the guy at night? The dude with dreads.
Maurice Javon.
Mo, yeah. I love Mo. You got beef with Mo or what?
Me and Mo are tight, dude. Me and Mo are really close.
Mo's a good dude. I like Mo. When he first came on, like, you know, when Drew first brought him on, I was like, man, this guy's going to suck, but he totally didn't. He was good.
Dude, how great has the Bone been to you? Like, what are some of your favorite memories at Tampa?
I mean, you know, I was like, well, actually, I don't want to say I wasn't quite as big of a dork as you were about radio hobby, but I was a pretty big dork. Like, I knew all the players that they're, you know, in Tampa and stuff like that, and I kind of, you know, idolized them a lot, especially, you know, when you start out in radio. I mean, Tampa, that's the unique thing about being down in Tampa is, I mean, there's been some legendary and still, you know, and I think it'll always be a hotbed for talk radio. I mean, you can't even go back and begin to list off all the great things that have happened there. So Tampa's been great. The people have been great. And the station, it's just been such a great experience, a pleasure, and an honor to be on that Bone staff, especially for as long as we have. I mean, it's just I couldn't rant and rave about it, and it's all genuine too. Like it's been a blessing to be on down there in Tampa. It's been every trip we've had. I've never had a bad trip there. You know, it's always been a lot of fun. I mean, obviously, you enjoy the nightlife there. You know that they know how to party.
Before I let you go, where can people find your show online and on the radio?
BillyMadisonShow.com would probably be the easiest. You know, we're on in about 4 or 5 markets between, you know, up in Maryland and Florida and Texas, and hopefully about to add a few more. Hopefully keep my fingers crossed there. But BillyMadisonShow.com. Follow, you know, all of us on Twitter. Mine's at BMS_Derek. But that's probably the easiest place. Or find us on Facebook, of course. Just search Billy Madison Show. And, yeah, that's about it, man. I appreciate you, Hoppy.
Of course, man. Keep up the good work, man. I'm glad that I've known you for about 6 years now. You've been a good dude to me. I liked when you guys gave me that shout-out after what happened last March. So keep up the good work, man, and hopefully you'll be in Tampa soon.
Yes, sir. I look forward to it. Thanks again, bud.
All right, thanks, dude. Have a good night.
You too.
All right, bye.
Hoppe Hour. Hoppe Hour.